So in this video we're going to have a look at extending our CSS styling. We're going to improve the main section of our website by adding some more padding and margin, resize the video so it matches the size of the photo, and make sure we've got our footer nicely styled to match the rest of the page as well. So jumping back into our documents here, we're going to go over to our CSS again, and if we have a look at our website, there's a few things we need to change. We've got some padding around the top and the bottom of our paragraph, but you can see it's really wide here. We're going to change that. We're going to match the 40 pixels padding below these lists and space this out as well, make that heading a little bit bigger and fix up that footer at the bottom. Okay, so to start with, let's add a new rule for the footer. We'll go and do that to start with. Footer, and we want to put the same background color that we have up the top. So luckily before we put that hex code in our comment at the top, so I can just select this dark color, which is the same at the top there, copy that, and in our footer we can add a background color and just paste that color in, and now if we look down at our footer you can see that it's changed. We need to have the same sort of size that we have here, so let's add in some margin and some padding perhaps around our footer as well. So I'm going to change the color of the text to just this white color that we have here. So I'll copy and paste that one in. Add in some padding, and let's again have 40 pixels and 150 pixels. So remember, this is going to affect 40 pixels above and below and 150 pixels left and right. If we have a look at our website, that's what we get there. This has created a really large header though, and that's I think because we have paragraph tags around what the text that we have in there. And if we look up here, we have for our paragraph, we also have 40 pixels margin at the top and the bottom. So to fix that, I'm going to make sure this paragraph only applies to the paragraphs that are part of that main section. So we can add section, and then you have P there, and you should see that this still is 150%, but down here our footer is much more appropriately sized. I also need to create some space above the footer and below the video, so I'm going to put a margin top on the footer of 40 pixels once again. This is different, remember, to just using margin or padding. If you specify exactly where you want to place it, you just put one number in there and it works appropriately. I could have, of course, put this margin bottom on the video and achieved the same effect. So now I want to create some padding below this list here. I don't actually have a rule for that yet, and what I'm going to do instead is create a margin on the top of this image. I'll have the same margin on the top as I have on the bottom. So I don't have a rule for my image yet, so I'll put a new one in down here. Remember the tag for that is just img, and I'm going to put margin top 40 pixels, and that creates that space there. I'm not going to put anything for the bottom in here for now because that will apply to the H2 heading that we've got down there. So I'm going to go up just below where I have my H1 heading and create a new rule for H2. And I want to have margin, and this time I'm going to use the two numbers, so that applies to, the first number applies to the top and bottom, the second number applies to left and right. So I'm going to have 40 pixels and then 0 pixels. So 40 pixels again is the top and bottom, 0 pixels is left and right for our margin there. I'm also going to increase the font size, and let's try 36 pixels for that one, and I'll reduce the font weight again, and this time again 300. Actually that's looking a little bit thin, so let's try 400 pixels for that one, 400 for that one. Okay, that's looking pretty good now. We've got the same margin above and below just like we have for everything else, so that consistent design, that consistent layout is looking pretty good. The next thing I want to do is match up the size of this image with our video down there. So to do that, I'm going to go to my website here, and I'm going to look into my images folder, and if I click on that image, I can see down here the exact dimensions of it. If you don't see that, you can right click on it and go to properties and into details, and you can see the same thing. The pixel dimensions, we've got 754 by 432. So I'm going to go back now to my HTML, and if I go down and find this iframe, and you can see I've got width at 560 at the moment, so I'm going to change it to 754, and I think from memory my height was 432. So let's jump back to our live preview now, and if I refresh the page there, you can see now it matches up exactly with our image. So that's looking pretty good. We've got our footer at the bottom that matches the very top of our page. We've got same sized image, we've got consistent margins between everything. This is a little bit wide, so I'm going to reduce the width of that paragraph. I'm also going to push this ordered list across a little bit so it's indented from the side, but other than that we're looking pretty good. So let's start by moving this ordered list across, unordered list rather, across. So back in our styles, I'll find that section. We don't actually have a rule for that yet, so let's add in a new one. And remember, if we just put in a UL, that's going to apply to these list items as well. So I want to put it to section UL, because that's only these list items here which are part of that section, which remember is everything below the header and above the footer in this case. And I'm going to put a margin left of, let's try 50 pixels, and just to push that across, that's looking pretty good. Now to adjust the size of this paragraph here, I've got already this section P tag where I change the line height and the margins and so on. So now I'm going to put in a rule for max width, and let's try 900 pixels. If I go to full screen, you can see that's chopped that off much more appropriately. We are going to have quite a lot of empty space on this website. That's just a simple design that we're going for at the moment. You could increase the margin on the left to spread it out a little bit more. You could even center the whole thing. But for now we're going to leave it simply like this. Looking at the size of this paragraph, actually what I want to do is change it to 754 pixels, because that will make it precisely the same width as the images and the video. So again, we're keeping that consistency. I could even change the alignment of that paragraph with the text align property, and if I change that to justify, you can see, like just in how it would be the same in Microsoft Word, it now lines up on the right hand side and the left hand side, so that looks a lot cleaner. So I think I'll leave it like that, with text align set to justify and the width exactly the same as our images there. The last thing I want to do is change the formatting of this link. You can see that when it's been clicked on, it goes this kind of ugly purple color. That's the default for links on the web, but we're going to style it so it looks more in sync with the rest of our website. To do that, just like usual, we're going to add a new tag, this time for the A tag, because remember it's the anchor tag that creates that link we have. So let's create an A tag and change the color property, and I'm going to choose one of these two colors up here so that it matches with what we've got going on. So let's choose the darker color, copy that, go down to my A tag, paste that in, and that's looking pretty good. Now you could leave it like that if you want, with the underline still active. If you want to get rid of it for a slightly cleaner look, you can change the text decoration property, just like we did with these links up here, to none, and that link will now just be normal text. Cool, so that's just about everything for our basic website now. In the next section we're going to look at activating these links and copying in some of our code so we have multiple pages with the same formatting. So to recap what we've looked at in this video, we've looked again at what we call descendant selectors. That's when we have two CSS selectors in one rule. So this is, in this case, would be all of the unordered list items in the section tag. We've looked at background color, remember to forget the U. We've changed the width and height of different elements using HTML. We've styled our anchor tags, and we've used text decoration to remove the underline.